Hi, how are you doing? So today we are on day 5 of our strategy, right? So we would discuss how to go about day 5. We would also see that tomorrow being Sunday, how can we utilize this Sunday, right? There would be very few Sundays, there would be very few holidays during our preparation. So we have to use these Sundays very judiciously. We have to see what we all need to cover in during these Sundays. Also, these Sundays needs to be used for revision, right? So we have to also revise what we have covered in the past week. So tomorrow we are going to do something which is very important. But before discussing that, let me put here something very straightforward, that RBI is somewhere around phase 2 is somewhere around 60 days ahead, right? So you still have a lot of time. You can prepare really well if you have strategy to prepare, right? If you have right intent to prepare, right? We are not competing here against anybody, but we are competing against ourselves. So you have to make a strategy which works for you. You can follow our strategy, but then you have to see that whether this is working for you or not. Also keep in mind that there are certain topics which are really important, but there are certain topics which can be given a back seat, right? Which can be put on a back burner if required, right? So you don't need to cover all the topics, you need to do some of the topics. Also be informed that in the past few years, in the past 2 years rather, when the paper has become objective, the main focus was on current affairs, right? The major questions were from current affairs. There were very few questions from static portion, especially in ESI. But then you cannot leave those static portions, those concepts untouched, because you never know. RBI might change the pattern. RBI might start asking those conceptual questions. So that's why each day when we give you a strategy, we cover those concepts as well in our videos, right? So there are current affairs, there are modern schemes and all that stuff in our videos, as well as uh, concepts, right? So if you are doing things on your own, do read a book, but also do current affairs, also do, let's say, government schemes, also focus on a few newspapers or few magazines which you can lay your hand on, and try to do government schemes. Try to understand, for example, various issues going on. For example, the issue of surrogacy which has been going on. Read about it. What is surrogacy? What are the latest bills about surrogacy and all that stuff. Then in women related issues, there would be, for example, maternity leave, maternity bill, right? Read about it. You would get a question out of it, right? Because they are related to women's issues. So all these stuff are really important. You have to go about it. Uh, Now coming to our tomorrow's strategy, tomorrow you would have a very important day, because what we would be covering is, we would be starting up with finance, part of finance and management, and we would be beginning with a very fundamental and very important topic, and the topic's name is time value for money, right? Time value for money forms basic of everything in finance, which means starting from bonds to stock valuation to various models like CAPM, uh, to net present value, to IRR. All these calculations are driven through just one concept, and that is time value of money. It's not very difficult if you just understand the concept of compound interest, right, which we have already done in our class 10 or class 9. Then you would be able to solve any question related to time value for money. Last year, I suppose, there were around 2 questions from bonds and time value for money for 2 marks, which means 4 marks were given to this topic. So do this topic very thoroughly. Use any book of your choice, right? So there are many books on finance which you can use, Prasanna Chandra being one, I am Pandey being another, so you can use that. We have covered it very extensively as well as in a very lucid manner in our videos, so those who have subscribed to it can go through it. We have also put in an exercise. I think we have put in somewhere around 70 to 80 questions on time value for money. You can attempt those as well. Don't rush things. Take it very lightly, right? Try to understand the concept, because if you don't understand the concept and if you start solving MCQs, it would not help you. So don't rush up the things. Try and give it a proper time. Try to understand the concept. Even if after even if after reading a book, if you don't understand it, don't give up, right? Try to read it again. If you have any doubts after watching our videos, do post us those doubts. We would try to solve it, because it's a mathematical portion. There could be some doubts. So don't leave it. Try to do it, because the 90% of the finance would be based on this one topic, right? Understand that any net present value, NPV, IRR, then stock capital account budgeting, which is not very important, or which is a slightly higher concept as far as our RBI exam is concerned. But all these things are based out of just one concept, which is opportunity cost of money, which is very well emphasized in time value for money. So do that. Do bonds as well, right? So bonds are very easy. You just have to understand the terminology of bonds, right? What are bonds? What are coupon rates? What is the maturity of the bond? What is the interest rate? What is the market price, right? All these things you have to understand. These are the terminologies which are easy to understand, but if you don't understand them, then you would easily goof up with the questions, right? So try and understand these terminologies and understand their usage in numericals, right? Understand what is a fixed income instrument, right? So bond is a fixed income instrument. You can also do slight theory of fixed income instruments. You can see, for example, various pages where there are debt listing, right? So it's a debt instrument, so debt listing happens in India as well. So you look into those things, right? What kind of bonds are there? So all you have to do you have to cover time value for money, bonds. These are the primary motives for tomorrow. After doing this, I think it would take you somewhere around 2 to 3 hours. It can take you around 4 hours as well if you put in the practice, right? If you do the numericals, it would take you around 4 hours as well, right? After doing that, do attempt a mock, right? So do attempt any mock for phase 1. Tomorrow is the day that you would be attempting mocks. We would in total be attempting around 20 to 25 mocks till our final phase 1 exam, which is till our June 17. We would want to do 20 to 25 mocks. So do take any mock of your choice. Try to attempt it in 2 hours and try to clear the sectional cutoffs. Also see that you are achieving a score of 100 to 110, right? So that's what is required. So there is no mention of time value for money in the syllabus, yes, but then there is mention of bonds, right? So bonds is mentioned in the syllabus, and time value for money forms the basics of understanding bonds, right? So if you have to do bonds, you have to understand time value for money. So 3 to 4 hours you have to devote in that, then 2 hours in mocks, then you have to do your regular GK, which is for half an hour. And since you have done mocks, I think you would be too exhausted to do any of the concepts in quant and verbal, so don't do that. If time permits, only if time permits, start doing financial statements as well, right? Start reading about balance sheet as well, because it is very important. There are 3 to 4 questions which came from balance sheet, which came from financial ratios, so you have to cover balance sheets. If you give around 2 hours to balance sheets, you have to understand that you don't need to form a balance sheet. You are not here to, you are not giving an accountant's exam, you are giving an RBI exam, so you have to understand how to read a balance sheet. So try to understand how to read a balance sheet. Do it from any book of finance. Again, I am Pandey Prasanna Chandra, being 2 good books, you can refer them. We have given an in-depth analysis in our video. We have covered a balance sheet, income statement in a very deep way. You can go through those videos and understand the concepts really well. Again, there are somewhere around 80 questions in our course which are related to balance sheet, financial statement, but don't do them tomorrow. Do them perhaps after you cover the ratios, the financial ratios, right? Then you would do it. So for tomorrow, 3 to 4 hours for bonds and time value for money, 2 hours for mocks, and if time permit and if you want, then around 2 hours for balance sheets and financial statements. So that's it for tomorrow. I hope you are enjoying your study. So it's very important to enjoy your study. It's very important not to panic. There is a huge competition, we know that, but if you panic and if you actually feel very anxious about it, half the battle is lost. So don't feel anxious. Do write back to us. Tell us how we can help you. Try to read newspapers every day, because newspapers are very important. Try to cover general awareness from January onwards. Particularly put in a lot of emphasis on government schemes, on what all bills are passed for women, for children, for various social sectors, for poverty and all that stuff. So that's how you should go about doing the preparation. So wishing you all the best. Thanks. Bye.